I once had a girlfriend that told me, uh, well, she told me that I should start a school in philosophy called Bullshit and Speculation. And anyway, I thought that was really funny and telling. And anyway, so I was just thinking about how I'm shifting, my perspectives, my style on things kind of need to reset and just talk a little more civilly, I guess, about ideas instead of bringing in the person behind the ideas. But somehow bringing in the person behind the ideas was always a means of clarifying who's this notion that that authorship is ultimately the most satisfying position to be in, to grant so much to authorship, to say, this is the person who synthesized this idea, or this is the person who, um, uh, you know, put this idea together, or this is a person that promulgated the idea. And it's so weird. It was almost, it's like to me, there's so much, it's kind of like in junior high school. Um, there was kind of like the first kids who came around. This one kid came around. He's like, "Man, there's a word and it's coming, man, and it's called killer. I heard it from California, man. And so killer means like the same thing as bitchin'. You say killer." Now, if this kid would have somehow written a book about the advent of the word killer, he might have been able to like convince people that it wasn't something within the public airs and already being orally treated before the author got a hold of it and kind of ran with it. And this is, I guess, the root of a lot of plagiarism. Talking about, and then kind of like when people are busted on it, then they're like, oh, you plagiarized it, and then people, hey, you plagiarize, and you don't really want to give a lot of credit to authors. At least, I don't know. I mean, authors, they do what they do, meaning they're importing an idea to you the same as the creator of any other technology, I suppose. And so give them as much credit. But kind of like when an author's trying to take power and grant it to other authors, it just seems, it seems like, wow, that's their gig, not like that's the gig that all people should. That's not the bandwagon that all people should get on. Anyway, so I was just thinking um, about a few things, kind of like a lot of my rethinking about things has to do with the Long Night series put on by the Caruths. That's really, really good stuff. Kind of missing Meridian Frost's dog, his playful thing. I don't know. I've gotten too serious, and then I started thinking, something on Ben's poetry about being serious. I was like, wow, be serious. To be serious. About how people aren't serious enough in what they do. And, I don't know, I guess as a sideline, philosophy is like a sideline sideline hobby for me. I take it serious until I don't. I take it as far as I can, but it's ultimately I don't want philosophy to be serious. But okay, so anyway, Barklord got back to me and he said, I'm really glad that you used the word employ. And I was thinking about the word employ and how I had gotten that from Wittgenstein, right? And Wittgenstein's like, for a large class of cases, although not for all, to find the meaning of a word, when employing the word meaning, we look to its use, right? And so I really loved the word employ at that point because it just seemed as if that's what we're doing, as if the lexicon um, is free and open. A lot, I would say, due to Derrida. But kind of like to remove one outside of the canon or canonized thoughts. So you're not always eating what's being served. You might look at what someone's putting on your plate, but you don't have to eat it, right? You don't have to lick it up. Anyway, so I was just thinking about how, okay, um, like, okay, so Anton, is really on the nothing kick again and on to zeros, and and so I was thinking about kind of what I think is a little ironic about Anton and this, and that it's kind of like, if I say there's a woman named Anna Anna Thing, and she's got a cousin named Anatheist, and Anatheist's dad is theist, and Anna Thing's brother is nothing, right? And somehow that Anton would say, well, I really get tired of the theism and theistic debate, the uh, the atheist debate, and he's gone so far as to point to the fundamentalism of father theism, but daughter uh, uh, anatheist is is somehow dogmatic, right? And so, if you're an atheist, then you're dogmatically fighting the lineage from where you came, which is from theism. So much of the myth and the embeddedness in language and the socio-historical aspects are rooted in that theism, stories and poetry and just our indebtedness to be an atheist. You already subsumed so much about theism. But to maintain kind of an erasure, let's erase the theism, get it out of our hair. No, let's not do that. Let's open this back up again. And so, uh, he takes an epistemological debates and he opens up the ontology treatment. So taking ontology as, okay, how to put it, as an argument, not the ontological argument, but a treatment of ontology. Anton will come in and then accuse the atheists of being dogmatic. But what's ironic is that on the other end, the cousin is Anna Thing. Now, Anna Thing is the brother of nothing. So if you say that no thing is the same thing as a thing, using the suffix a thing, then what we have here is we have somebody that's incredibly dogmatic to not only employing the word nothing, but is going to go so far as to derive and tell us the elements of this, to say nothing is something else. Now that's another word that I really, sentence structure, the nounus operation, identification, it requires that we make some equivalence to, and this, that's how I appreciate Anton. Well, there are equivalences of things that are not the same. So we have that on one hand, but on the other hand, we have nothing is real as a contention being put forward. And, so you get Sartre, who puts forward this whole notion of nothing and talks of dream states and imagery and imagination and consciousness and all these things that are not substantive. And so they're kind of like words that are pointing to things that do not exist, but the words still exist. But Anton wants to go so far as to say, no, the nothing itself does exist in one respect. And so basically, if we say no thing and nothing are the same thing, then I'm wondering, the history of when that word is regularly employed, right? Like, can you find your, let's look for our coat, and so go look in that room. Dear, is there anything in the room? No, nothing, dear. Not meaning nothing, just meaning absence, right? So Derrida takes care of the difference between, the Sartre ontology, the being of nothing, let's say, and as opposed to the metaphysic, the cause, like the cause of all things in the universe is nothing, right? Which would be a definitional way to look at nothing causing something, but it's still a metaphysic. So Derrida, instead of using the word nothing, he uses the word absence, and his creation off of this is absence and presence, is the dichotomy that he would like to use, as opposed to thing and no thing, thing and nothing. And so I'm just thinking that it's really weird that Anton is dogmatically adhering to nothing, instead of just looking at what Pyro might say is the crude version of it until you zoom in closer. Pyro likes to employ the dichotomy of subjective and objective, but if he deconstructs it, he makes subjective, that which is subjective, primacy, which I think is, it's an interesting argument. Anyway, and so I guess that just kind of watching somebody, I'm not going to run out and read his book or go, hey, everybody, the first interview to go sell one of my lady paintings to your local art gallery. I'll send you a free print. Ah, shit. See, now I'm being an ass. Okay, so I'm sure it's a good book, but it's almost like he doesn't want to let go of everything. Otherwise, he can't maintain a capitalism. He can't maintain, bringing in the dough, as if the partnership isn't going to suffice. It's got to cling on to everything capitalistic and hierarchical and so forth. Anyway, and so all I'm submitting is the idea that how, I love the word how, instead of atheism, theism, it's how am I atheist? How am I theist? Well, how is Anton dogmatic towards nothingness, right? And how much has he taken the use of the word nothing from its crude vernacular, how we use it, not to speak of vacuums particularly, although that is a good junior high experiment, making a vacuum that you can see through it, therefore photons can move through it, or a wave, some energy source, or if you were in outer space, no matter where you are in outer space, you'd be able to see a star, right? So speaking about nothingness as having kind of this ether, in which it must be a something in order to have an ether, in order to have energy move through it, is really interesting. So anyway, I'm not certain what I wanted to say. Besides that, yeah. So I guess let's just watch where Anton's going to take us next down the road of nothingness, and try to get us to equivocate a thingness to nothingness, and then see whether or not we can start an atheism of thingness and say, no, we only believe in nothing, because if we believe in nothing, then, and God is nothing, then we can believe in God, right? Wait, atheism means no God, but nothing. If God is not a thing, and we can believe nothing is real, and God is nothing, then atheists can finally believe that God is something, and therefore we can bring father theism back into the lineage, right? But therefore all of us can become theists again. Yay, go theism. Oh, anyway, what y'all think? Take care and goodbye, and I wish other people would make nice and light and easy going videos, and I think that's what I'm going to do.